Hello, hello, and welcome to another conversation lesson. Let's get right to it. So I'm going to open up our Ingu website where we have our articles. I always say you can come here by yourself or with a friend, work through some of the articles, have a discussion with friends. They have a lot of free material for you here, ingu.com. All right. So let's see, what shall we talk about today? Oh, let's do this. It's obviously a hot topic. Argentina beats France in World Cup final. That was exciting. All right. So as always, we'll start off with the vocabulary. I'm going to read through it. I'd like you to hit pause after I finish with each word, after I finish each word, and then read it out loud. Make sure you understand the word. If you're not sure about the definition that they give over here, you can just type in, for example, here we've got generation. So in Google, generation, meaning, and they'll give you all the different meanings it may have, because sometimes the same word has different meanings depending on the context. All right, so let's start. First one, generation. All of the people who were born at about the same time regarded as a group, one stage or step in a family's history. Generation Z includes those born from 1997 to 2012 who grew up with smartphones and the internet. My family have been in the US for 5 generations. Okay, next one, title. The winning position in a competition. Serena Williams has won the French Open 3 times, but has never successfully defended her title. Then block, to put or be an obstacle in the way of someone or something. He blocked the shot with an incredible dive. Climax, the most exciting, important, etc. point of something. His last lap overtake was a thrilling climax to an already exciting race. Unique, one of a kind, or unlike other things. The dancing house in Prague has a very unique design. And then last one, controversial, causing a lot of conflict, controversy, or public disagreement. Gun control is a very controversial issue in the United States. All right. Now, next up, I'm going to read the article again. I'd like you to hit pause after each little paragraph, read it out loud, make sure you got the pronunciation down. If you're not sure, just skip back a little bit, listen again, and try again. All right. And again, I'm reading at a kind of a normal pace, not too fast, not too slow, so that you can see, because sometimes if you say a word slowly, then it doesn't sound natural. So I'm trying to read it at a natural speed so that you can hear the pronunciation at a natural speed. All right, so let's go. Argentina beats France in the World Cup final. Lionel Messi's once-in-a-generation career is complete. The Argentina superstar is finally a World Cup champion. Messi scored 2 goals and then another in a shootout as Argentina beat France 4-2 on penalties after a 3-3 draw to claim a third World Cup title on Sunday. This was despite France's Kylian Mbappe scoring the first hat-trick in a final since 1966. Let's go Argentina, Messi yelled into a microphone on the field during the post-match celebrations. Messi was incredible from the start, putting Argentina ahead with a penalty shot and playing a part in Angel Di Maria's goal that made it 2-0 after 36 minutes. Mbappe, on the other hand, was quite quiet until he scored 2 goals in a 97-second period to take the game to extra time. Messi scored his second goal in the 108th minute, leaving Argentina close to victory once again, but there was still time for another penalty from Mbappe to take the game to a shootout. Gonzalo Montiel scored the winning penalty kick after Kingsley Coman's shot was blocked and Aurelien, that's her name, Chouameni missed for France. Okay. Oh, it's continuing. Let's read further, then we can look at the pictures. Europe's run of 4 World Cup winners in a row ended as Argentina became the first South American champion since Brazil in 2002. Argentina won its previous World Cup titles in 1978 and 1986. The victory is quite the climax to Messi's international career, which might not yet be over because the 35-year-old is playing as well as ever. It was quite the climax to a unique World Cup too, the first to be played in the Middle East and the Arab world. For FIFA and the Qatari organizers, a final between two major soccer nations and the world's two best players was the perfect way to end a controversial World Cup. All right, yeah, that's it. Let's go look at the pictures here. So, yeah, there's Messi, Mbappe. Those are the only two that I really know. Um, yeah, interesting. And here's some more celebration pictures. Okay. Well, let's go right to our discussion questions. Again, I'm going to read it and then you can either hit pause before I answer or after I answer. If you want before, you can answer and then listen to my answer and see if we have similar ideas, or you can listen to mine first and then you can either add something to it or say you disagree with me about something, or add something, whatever you feel comfortable with, or change it up in between. All right, number one, what are your thoughts on Argentina's World Cup victory? Yeah, I think it's great, and like they say, especially for a player like Messi, who's like almost a legend. People are always arguing Ronaldo the best of this generation or Messi, but I think for somebody of his stature to go out on top and win a World Cup, the only thing that's been missing for him, scoring goals in the final, all of that, winning the best player of the tournament. I think it must have been a great, great night for him. Yeah, and for Argentina as a whole, Yeah, it was very, very exciting. So, number two, did you watch the World Cup final? Who did you expect to win? Yes, I did watch it. I actually missed the first two goals because I was still teaching, and then when I switched on, it's like, oh, it's already 2-0, and I thought like, man, because I was also second part of the question. I was expecting Argentina to win, um, but I wasn't too sure because France they were also playing extremely well, so it could have gone either way. But when I saw it's like 2-0, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're gonna just run away with it. And then I was just kind of watching, and all of a sudden, it was kind of boring because it seemed like Argentina was just in complete control. They were just in complete control. And then all of a sudden, Mbappe scored and he equalized within like they said 2 minutes. And the whole thing just flipped on its head. And all of a sudden, it was like France was the team that's putting all the pressure, and it seemed like Argentina was in a lot of trouble. So it was a very exciting back and forth in the last, with extra time, the last like 40 minutes was amazing. It was really very, very good. Yeah. All right. Number three, how many World Cup games did you watch? What were the most exciting moments you saw? Um, I didn't really watch any of the group stages. Every day I'll check the results because I'm not the biggest soccer fan. I only watch like when I was younger, I liked to watch a lot of football, but as I grew older, it's like, you know, I yeah, not as exciting for me. But the World Cup, I tend to watch World Cup games. So the group stages, I just check the results, and then from the knockout stages, whichever, because yeah, in Thailand, the games tend to be either at 10 o'clock in the evening or 2 o'clock in the morning. So I watched all the 10 o'clock in the evening games. Um, I didn't stay up for, except one, which I watched at 2 o'clock. There was one, I think it was the last the last semi-final, because I was snoring and my wife had to work early. So she kept bumping me and kind of like waking me up because I'm snoring and waking her up. And I asked her like, should I go sleep downstairs, so you can get a nice rest, get up early. So she was like, yeah, that'd be nice. So I went downstairs, and then the game was on. So I was like, okay, I'll just watch it finish and then go to sleep. So I watched one of them. Um, what were the most exciting moments? The final. The final was by far the most exciting, even though there were a lot of games that went into extra time and penalty shootouts. I love penalty shootouts, always exciting. But the final was just the best. Number four, have you been to any professional soccer games? Do you want to someday? Yes, when the World Cup was in South Africa, I went to two games. I went to go watch South Africa play against France, and then also was it a one of the knockout stages, Germany and England. And I think Germany destroyed England, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was quite nice. And that's the only professional soccer games that I've ever been to. I haven't watched any other football games, like live. Yeah. So, number five, who are the biggest soccer fans you know? Who do they consider to be the all-time greatest player? Uh, biggest soccer fans I know. Probably there's a old friend of mine that actually kind of introduced me to football, a big Liverpool fan. And that person, their whole family was maybe, yeah, the whole family was into football, loved Liverpool, and that person really loved Michael Owen. I don't know if they would say that he's the greatest player of all time, but they really love that person. Um, I wonder if they're going to ask who I think is the greatest. Well, for me, the greatest player, I love Ronaldinho because he just had that, he had that flair, and he was, kind of made people look silly, and just, yeah, he had like flair. So I loved Ronaldinho. I tend to love the Brazilian team. They always play with a lot of passion and, exciting, and kind of make it look, they like to do tricks and things like that. So I like Brazil. All right. Well, further discussion. Are there any upcoming sports tournaments you're looking forward to? Upcoming tournaments? Nope. Now it's kind of a quiet season for sports. Everybody's taking off over Christmas, so nothing in the near future. What are the most disappointing sports events you've watched recently? I enjoy UFC, and the last UFC pay-per-view, UFC 282, I think it was, ended in a draw. And while I could kind of see why it ended in a draw, it was still disappointing because they were fighting for a vacant title, so nobody was the champion, and these two guys would have been the whoever won the belt would have been the champion, and then now it's just still vacant. So that was kind of disappointing. Yeah. Are there many once in a generation superstars in your favorite sport? Uh, yeah, like I said, I like UFC. Once in a generation superstar, probably Conor McGregor. Even though he's not as good as he was before, he's still a superstar, and yeah, it'll probably take a while before UFC is able to build somebody up to that superstardom that he has. So yeah, probably Conor. Number four, when was the last time the greatest players in the sports you follow competed against each other? Well, that's one thing I love about the UFC. They always put the best against the best. So they really good at. I actually I started out as a boxing fan. I'm still a boxing fan, but boxing is so much politics, and people talk, and they like they're trying to copy Mayweather. Don't get defeated, and try and build excitement for matches before they actually fight, you know. So people ask like, fight this guy, and then when he fights this guy, everybody's crazy about it. So they're trying to do that, but it's not always working. So it takes a long time before the best fight the best in boxing, which is very annoying. So the UFC, I started watching UFC, and they just all the time get the best against the best, and that's really, really nice. Yeah. Mm. All right. Number five, who are the longest competing athletes in your favorite sports? When do you think they'll retire? Oof, goodness me. Um, Longest competing in boxing, man. Boxing, I don't actually know now off the top of my head. There's a lot of guys who's kind of towards the end of their career, but no, nobody that's like that are like, oh man, this guy. You know, somebody like Bernard Hopkins, he retired a few years ago already, but he was fighting and he was 50 years old and he won a world championship title. So, you know, that was a very like that was an amazing feat to be able to do that at that age. But he retired now. He actually in his last fight he got knocked straight out of the ring. So that wasn't the best way to end your career, especially if you've been doing it for that long. UFC, I also don't know. And then I also love cycling. And there was a guy, David Rebellin, and he also just he turned 50 and he was still racing professionally, but he got hit by a truck the other day and passed away, unfortunately. But again, what a amazing long career. To be able to do what you love for that long and getting paid for it, you know, it's very impressive, very impressive. All right. Well, that's it, guys, then. So let me stop this. I hope you guys watched the World Cup final and I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, then, have a good evening. Bye bye.